Welcome, friends. Welcome to today's Reconsider It live stream. Best live stream you're gonna see all day. And here on this live stream, you are gonna get a very nice hour of some beat making on these 505 loopers, these RC 505 loopers here. I'm gonna be talking about how I built this foundation of a beat you've already made, and I'm going to keep building up the beat, and I'm going to be talking to you about what I'm doing while I do it. My regulars know what it is. Speaking of my regulars, I see at this time that we have got Steve with us in the chat, which is great. If you are new to the Reconsider It live streams, welcome! You made the right decision joining us. We want you here. Right now we are in a warm-up phase. We are chilling out to this foundation of a beat that I made, so that we'd have something to do during the warm-up phase. That's why there is this foundation of a beat. We are just getting the blood flowing at this time. It is a good flowing of blood. And here in this warm-up phase, I need to celebrate. I need to celebrate you. Whether you are here with us live in the chat, or you are here with us live but you are not in the chat, or you are here with us after the live, you are watching on replay. However it is that you're here with us, thank you for being here. I am going to celebrate you at this time in this way. I have got my drink. I am going to count to 3. I am going to clink the screen. At that time, you are invited to join the rest of us as we cheers along and celebrate our togetherfulness. And it all begins pretty quickly, all of a sudden on 1. Whoa, the count up has already begun. 2. Oh my goodness, it's really happening. Here it is on 3. Clink. Cheers, my friends. Oh man, that's good. That's good. That's really good. Please like this video. Please subscribe. Friends, we have got a 505 beatmaking stream on our hands today. Boy, this is such an experience. I'm so happy to be doing this with you. So as always, these 505 beat making streams, these are really good. They might hit the bullseye for you if you are looking for like whether you would be able to do something with these 505s and you're seeing like how do they work? What do I have to do to make a beat? Or maybe you're already a 505 artist and you just want some other, techniques and see how does someone else use these things. Or you like gear. Or you like my very, very magnetic personality. That's another reason you might want to tune in for a 505 beat making stream. We go off on tangents once in a while. I see with us right now another friend of the channel. George! Man, that was good. That was very well executed. So how did I make this beat? These 505 beat making streams are primarily about talking about the loopers and the details and the buttons and everything. So when I make a beat, this is just me. I generally start with the kick drum, as you're hearing right now. As I love to admit on my streams, I am not some awesome acapella beatboxer. Sometimes people stumble onto my channel because they want to see beatboxing and looping, and they're expecting one of these like Swiss beatbox championship people. It's like, no. Even though the drums sound like this, me doing it a cappella, here it is. Me doing it, I'm like, that's what I'm doing a cappella. But the looper makes it sound like this. So how did I do it? Well, my regulars know that you can, in each of the loopers here, there's 2 different loopers. The Mark 1 is the original model. I use it only for percussion or vocals, lyrics, that is. Top looper is the second model, the Mark II. I use that for anything with a melody or tune to a key. By the way, for my musician friends who like to jam along, this one is tuned to the key of F sharp F sharp major, that is. Beats per minute is 142.6. So this kick drum, you can stack input effects that the looper has to make it sound different ways. I start with an EQ in this case. I only stack 2 input effects to get this kick drum effect. And that is the EQ, which has a what would you say? I mean, it's an EQ. And it lets you adjust the different level. I take the high end down a little bit, and I take the low end up a little bit. So it takes my acapella thing. If I go back to the acapella, if I'm here acapella and I go, but if I switch to that EQ, you can see that it, you know, muffles it a little bit. Takes the high end down and the low end up. So I have that EQ, and then I put a vocal distortion on it, which is exactly what it sounds like. That's what gives it all that graininess. And you can see how stacking the different effects gives it, you know, different textures and such. So if you're wondering, would I be able to do some kind of kick drum type of thing? The answer is, yeah, you could at least do this. You heard that I'm not doing anything all that impressive into the mic. It's a matter of settings and such on the loopers to make it sound this way. And then after that, I bring in these hi-hats or shakers. This is just multiple layers of me going tss, 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 or shh, shh, shh. That's it. Nothing special going into the mic. But I stacked a couple layers. You record your foundational, it's a wave file. You record your foundational sound. And then you can record on top of it as many layers as you want for a given, you know, in this case, the shakers. These shakers, and also this clap layer, I made them out of the same EQ as the kick. So they have something in common. They kind of fit together. The same EQ as the kick. And then also, actually, hold on. No, that's it. I had exactly the same setting. In this, okay. Usually what I do, or often, maybe not usually, often what I do is I pass them through a reverb. I'm listening today, I didn't do that. So these are actually using the exact same palette as the kick. The exact same, let's say, input filters, input sound effects. So that was the EQ with the low end boosted and the high end reduced, passed into the vocal distortion, which gives it that more grainy, distorted type of feel. I was also putting some reverb, some output reverb. You can hear that pretty clearly. I like always any kind of reverb or delay. Usually it works best when the kick is muted. And I'm instead just got these shakers and the clap layer. Then there's the bass. You are fully caught up to speed on the lower looper, on the percussion. But then there's the bass. So how did I make this bass? While I get a sip of my drink over here, I'm having a very dry morning. So I may need to do that or clear my throat or stuff. But as I do that, I'm getting caught up on the chat, and I see that George is asking, do these 505s here, do they have an SD card to save my stuff? And the answer is, I don't know if they have an SD card, but they have a USB. So after every stream, after I build up a beat here on a stream with you, I do indeed save it off. I didn't do that always. For the first year or so, I didn't save any of it. I just, I treated it like, you ever seen monks, Tibetan Buddhist monks, doing one of their sand, is it pronounced mandala or mandala? I don't know, I'm not sure exactly how it's pronounced. But they make their sand, they're like sand paintings. And they take however long to build them. And it's like this beautiful, intricate, you know, visual display made out of sand that they carefully, you know, almost literally grain by grain constructed. Elaborate, you know, pictures of, I don't know, waves or something. Figures representing whatever. The sun. I don't know, I'm kind of making things up, but just trying to give you a sense of if you've never seen these things before. I saw one once being constructed over the course of a week. It took them, I'm not sure exactly how long, maybe it was 4 days, maybe it was 5 days, I don't remember how long, but a number of days. They had a team of monks that were maybe 3 or 4 at least, I'm not sure. And it was a pretty big size, maybe like a 10-foot diameter, roughly. And I could go back after, you know, go on the first day and see them working, and it was only a little bit, and go back after a couple days, oh wow, they take up so much of this space, and then watch at the end. Because at the end, this is like a ritual they do, where they take all this time and effort to work so hard to do all of this, and then they just destroy it all because it's made out of sand. And again, it's meant to be a meditation on impermanence. And so for the first year or so of my live streaming, I treated my live streams like that. I treated my live streams as just like this exercise in the impermanence of everything I'm doing. Making it, you know, true improvisation, as if I'm improvising. You know, if I was a jazz artist at a jazz club and I go improvise for a few hours one night with, you know, however many musicians are there. Anything I did that night would be lost forever. It would be, you know, lost to the ether. Because that was the nature of the performance. It was just like a one-time jam, and man, that was awesome. And so that was my philosophy for the first year or so of my live streams. But then a couple of months ago, I decided to start saving off my songs or my beats because I make a lot. I did a rough calculation, and it was something like, well, at the time, I'm rethinking it right now because I've kind of changed my live streams. At the time, it was about 40 beats a month. But I was still doing multiple beats per live stream. At this point, I usually am only doing 1 beat per live stream. And we just drag it out. I'm talking about whatever with the loopers. We're talking about, you know, reincarnation and, you know, the laws of thermodynamics only apply in the 3-dimensional realms of material phenomena. Go off and talk about stuff. But I'm only doing about 1 beat a stream these days. And I do 3 or 4 streams a week, at least. So if we say just 3 streams a week for 4 weeks, that's 12. So at least 12 beats a month I make on these live streams. And I decided a couple months ago to start saving them. And I don't need to like rush and do a million beats every single stream. There's way too much for me to keep up with afterwards. Just one beat per stream. I save them off. I recently started making songs with the beats that I made. I never did that before. So when I save off the beats, or I keep them on the loopers, then I, might do a little 2 or 3 minute long instrumental, or I might do a little rap song. I have released a couple rap songs recently, 16-bar rap songs. Steve says the pronunciation is mandala. Mandala. Did I say that the way you're intending to communicate? Mandala. George says he is satisfied with my description of the loopers saving off via USB. Yeah, to get to your point, I just sit here for like 10-minute tangent about Buddhist sand sculptures, which, by the way, are really dope, and you should look that up if you don't know it already. And if you do know it already, you should still go look it up. Steve said I did indeed pronounce it correctly. Mandala. That's good because I have a rap song from like... Oh man, I think it was like 2014 maybe? So that's like 11 years ago at this point. It's 2025 as we do this live stream here. I have a rap song from, let's say, 10 years ago where I have the word mandala in it. And I pronounce it like that. Mandala. So thank you to Steve. If that's how you would be expecting to hear it, good. I pronounced it correctly 10 years ago in that rap track. By the way, if you want to hear which song I'm talking about, it's a song by my group Conscious Object. And the song is called Again. It's me working through some degree of like a hopelessness, failing again after trying, and going through this like over and over nature. And there's a part in the lyrics where I reference a monk with a sand mandala. And that's good. That's good if I pronounce it the way, Steve, you're expecting. But this bass line, how did I do it? For the 505 details. Like the drums, where my acapella does not sound like these drums here. This is the drums being put through all sorts of input effects. The bass also, this is just me being like, do. That's it. I'm not doing any kind of special, awesome vocal tricks. I don't have some kind of like awesome bass, whatever. It's the looper that makes it sound like a bass. And here's how I did it. There are up to four input effects you can stack in order to create your own instrument. Like I built my own bass instrument here. So what did I stack in this case? To take me going from do to sounding like this bass. Well, I start, as always, my regulars know, I start with the guitar to bass. That's what the input effect is called. And that one is what drops it a few octaves and makes it sound like a bassy instrument. That's the main voice of this instrument here, the guitar to bass. And then you stack a few more. So I took the guitar to bass and pass it into the electric, which is the tuner. That's why I can say this is F sharp, because it snaps it to the keys in an F sharp scale. So guitar to bass, passed it into the electric. Then I passed that into a sustainer. The sustainer, I'm told, is like a simple compressor. I think of it as a loudness control, which I guess can be likened to a compressor. And then I passed it into a vibrato. There is a little bit of like waviness if you listen really carefully. it goes over 2 full measures, the full vibrato wave. So it's really, and the bass line itself is 8 measures long. So, 4 times over the course of the full bass line. I'm going to stop talking. Here it is. You can listen. George says the bass line is sick. George has another question about the 505s, which is good, by the way. I encourage you to keep asking technical details like this, because that's what these streams are for. I always say, for anyone who enjoys these streams, you like knowing about the technical details, come let me know. Come in the chat and tell me what you're like. Hey, what happens if blah, or how can you or whatever your I don't know, curiosity is. Same thing if you're watching after the stream and you're curious about something, put it in the chat and let me know. Anyway, George has another technical question that says, for each channel, like whether it's the bass line or this other thing, whatever you'd call this, or it's my shaker, or it's my kick drum, for each channel, do they have separate outputs to send to the mixer? And the answer is they do not. There is only one output for the entire looper. I mean, there's only one output signal for the entire looper. There's a couple of different jacks. You have in the lower looper, you've got a traditional, left and right 1/4 inch jacks, panned output. You've also got a 1/4 inch headphones, and there's also that's it for the lower looper. On the top looper, you have that same thing, but you have 2 additional of the 2 plug. My vocabulary is failing me at this time. The 2 1/4 inches. So there's 3 outputs on the top looper. There's 3 outputs that are the double 1/4 inch input, plus also a 1/4 inch headphone. The top looper is the new generation, the 2nd generation looper. It is in some ways designed for live collaboration. It's got multiple inputs. As you see, it's got multiple outputs. And all of those on the top looper, all of those outputs, you have individual control over their volume levels. I'm not sure if they have EQs, but that's still just output. It's still one output signal for the entire jack. I cannot, for example, hook everything up to some mixing board or some whatever input computer or whatever, and then on the computer start mixing the bass line, and then separately start mixing this other thing, and then separately start mixing the percussion. It's not like that. It's one signal for each looper. So I could mix the percussion separately from the top looper, but that's the lowest level of granularity that you can do. George says, "Oh man, it'd be nice to have separate outputs." Oh man, you're telling me. That's one of the features that you hear a lot of 505 users request if there were to be a 3rd generation. Because right now there's only the Mark II. And if there were a 3rd, there's many 505 users who say, yo, you got to give me some outputs for each individual channel. Also still give me a single main output. I want that too. but also, you know, give me a thicker thing here that has more outputs. I will take a larger sized piece of machinery if it means that I get to have outputs for each individual channel. P.S. If you're giving me a larger piece of machinery, give me a 6th channel as well. Give me the 606. Or make it an 808. That'd be great. I doubt they're gonna do anything like that. I have not heard anything that Boss has any intentions of doing a next generation looper. I have not heard anything like that. So I don't expect that. And some of my regulars know in the past maybe like 2 or 3 months, I've been talking about how my lower looper here, the 505 Mark I, I've had this thing for like 8+ years. I used to take it back and forth to live shows, and I didn't always transport it well. So it's been through a lot of use. And after 8 years of somewhat heavy use, it's starting to have some technical problems. And to get it repaired would be less expensive than getting a new looper, but not that much less expensive. So I'm just like, maybe I should just get a new looper. So at some point, I'm going to get a new looper. And you can only get a Mark II these days. So I'm going to get a second Mark II. So at some point in the next, I don't know how long, some number of months, or maybe tomorrow. I don't know how long. Some point in the next however many months, I'm gonna suddenly do a stream where I have 2 Mark II loopers. And it'll be a similar type of experience, but you're gonna have the percussion is gonna be far more enhanced. I know a lot of what I would do with a second Mark II. The percussion is gonna be far enhanced. And, I'm going to be exploring a lot of new things that I don't already have in mind, so it's going to be even doper. George agrees that it'd be good to have separate outputs, so hopefully Boss values that user input, hopefully. Right now with us now, we are joined by Glitchman, who says, "Don't wait to get that new 505 Mark II. Just get it now." Man, I have considered that because I'm like, what if I know I'm gonna get it, and the bottom one is giving me a hard time in some cases. And I know it's going to bring a lot of awesomeness. Why don't I just get it now? So you're right. I don't have a counter argument, really. I will take that as feedback. But I said, just go get it right now. Also, I see that Cornish has joined us. So, I gave you the technical details for the bass that you hear right here. How did I build my bass instrument so that it goes from me just saying like do, well that's do, like basically that's what I did when I made this bass line. But I passed it through, once again, the line of instruments. It was guitar to bass, passed into electric, which is the tuner, passed into a sustainer, which is a compressor, passed into a vibrato. A very subtle, you know, long period vibrato. But then there's this. I'm not sure exactly what to call this. But here's how I built it. Glitch Math has given me more encouragement to just go get the second looper. Oh, man. I don't know why I'm so hesitant. I'm like, oh, that would be really good and have a lot of upside and just a lot of upside. There'd be a lot of upsides to it, and it'd be pretty much all positives, complete wins for everyone. And I'm sitting here like, oh, I don't know. You know, so I'm gonna once again take a brief detour. My regulars know that I'm adding more and more just like little tangents about things. If you ever have any issues with decision making, some people do. Some people are good at decision making in some areas, but they struggle with decision making in other areas. And that's fine, that's normal. That's natural. So here's a tip for decision making. I'll give you these kinds of tips once in a while. Here's a tip for decision making. If you are presented with a decision where it's binary, it's a yes-no question, and in that yes-no question, your decision determines whether you get a very, very large, almost innumerable amount of positives, and then a modest price you must pay for this. So a very, very large stack of positives, wins, benefits, and then comparatively small, compared to this very large amount of benefits, comparatively small price. That decision is a very easy decision. Now there's also the execution on the decision. Can you pay the price? That's a separate topic. That's a separate topic. But the decision, yeah, the decision is easy. Mountain of positives, rather small price. Yeah, that's a do that thing kind of decision. It is not the case that things are for free. Some things are, but that's not the natural order of reality. Generally, all things are some form of exchange, including a payment of some form. So a very small payment for a gigantic mountain of benefits. Easy decision. There's your decision-making lesson for today. Oh, by the way, you know what I haven't said in the past 14 live streams? I'm past the 200 mark on the live streams. Hooray! This is actually right now, stream number 213. I remember when I was going to do stream number 200, before the stream, I was like, okay, yeah, I got to say something verbally about how it's going to be the... And then I didn't do it at all. Afterward, I'm like, oh, I forgot. And then when I was getting ready for stream number 201, I was like, oh, you know, I got to say something about how I didn't say yesterday was, or whatever the previous, may or may not have been yesterday, but the previous stream. And then I didn't do that on 201. And then on 202, I think probably by 202, that maybe was the last time that I did that, but it's just occurring to me now that I had that story to share with you. Isn't that a good story? Right now you're like, man, I have this like warm, fuzzy feeling from that story. This is a just very good experience I'm having. I'm having some of my like, what is this, social needs being met. This is great. These live streams really they really hit the spot, you know? I see right now the crazy one is with us, which is really nice. I see Steve is talking about he likes the vibrato on the bass. Yeah, it's really mild. I didn't do that today. That was just part of the, you know, I made these instruments. I made this palette of instruments. You can make 4 instruments on the top looper. I have the bass. I have this thing, whatever you call this. So I didn't make that today. But, yeah, that was a nice surprise to see how I configured that. It's so over 2 measures the vibrato goes. Oh, I'm sorry, that was Cornish. I think I accidentally said that was Steve. Steve does have a question, though. QQ. Thank you, by the way, Steve, for doing that. And earlier, I invited everyone to let me know your technical questions. That's what this stream is for. So QQ helps. That helps it stand out. Anyway, Steve's question is, would you consider a different looper manufacturer to get individual outputs? I would. Because as I'm saying now, I'm planning to get another looper, but it doesn't absolutely have to be another 505 Mark II. That's what I'm expecting. There was another looper years ago, and this was like, you know, 5, 6, 7 years ago. There was another looper that was on the market that I was considering getting, and the only thing that made me not get it, you know, hastily, was that I wasn't sure if I'd be able to MIDI sync the two, because I would still want to use, at the time I had the bottom one only. I would still want to use this bottom looper and then just also have this other one. I think that could even be cooler than having 2 of the same looper. But in any case, it was, I forget what it was called or who made it. It was like the something, you know, the number was 8,000 or it wasn't 505. It was some huger number like that. And it used to be at the time what Reggie Watts used. If you know Reggie Watts. He's great. He's like a comedian musician. He does some really awesome, very, very creative stuff. He has a background in jazz, so when he does his own solo looper, weird vocals only stuff, it's really good. And like I say, he's kind of a comedian also. If you don't know Reggie Watts, you are in for a treat. You go find probably his YouTube page. Anyway, his looper is a totally different one. And ... Here's what I've been trying to build up to saying. They discontinued it. They discontinued it like 3 or 4 years ago, or maybe more. Because I was looking at getting one. But again, they discontinued it. So at this time, I am planning to just get another Mark II, which I'll be very happy with, because that will give me a lot of power. I won't have to have a learning curve with a new device. It'll be really good. And then worst case scenario, if there's some other looper that would be really dope, maybe I'll get 3. Or actually 4, because I'm still going to have my bottom looper. The question remains whether I'm going to start using all 3 at the same time. Whoo, man. I'm not planning to do that right now. But will I someday? George G's says, Reggie Watch kills it with the loopers on stage. Yeah, he does. George says the RC600 has the individual outputs. Does it? My understanding of the RC600 is that it is the same thing as the RC505, but it's meant to be controlled by your feet rather than like this one, which is meant to be for your hands. But under the hood, my understanding was that the RC600 was identical in functionality to the 505. But if I'm mistaken about that, which I might be because I've never used the 600, I don't know. My understanding was that even the back, the ports and everything was all the same. But if I'm wrong about that, that's interesting because I wonder would I be able to use my feet? I probably could still use it with my hands, even though it's meant for being operated with your feet. It's meant for, like, you know, a bassist or a guitarist or somebody whose hands are busy. George says, yeah, that is the difference, the main difference between the two. Okay. So how did I make this other instrument? That's what I was building up to saying here. George says that the RC600 has 2 sub outputs. Yeah, that's what these are up here. It's definitely too small for you to see on the camera, but this has a main 2-channel panned output, and it has 2 sub outputs as well, and then a headphone jack. But those are still a single output signal being sent to different outputs. And that's, again, for live collaboration. When this top looper first came out, they had commercials for it, and that they were targeting the beatbox community. And they showed how you can have, there's 2 mic inputs. So you could have one person on one mic, another person in a second mic, and they beatbox together. Or they're taking turns, whatever they're going to do. But it could be 2 people at the same time on the same song. And there's also 2 inputs for whatever other instrument you want. Again, another dual 1/4-inch panned set of jacks. For, you know, someone wants to put a guitar into this or a keyboard into this. You could do that with 2 additional instruments. And so it makes a lot of sense then that they'd have multiple forms of output. If, you know, multiple people wanted to have, I don't know, headphones in or something, you could figure out a way to get some jacks to do that. But it's all the same output signal being sent, not for individual layers. George says, so you basically figure on 3 stereo outputs. Exactly. That's exactly it, yes. 3 stereo outputs, plus a headphone. So how did I make this instrument? Let's see. What's happening here? Let me take, there's a little bit of an extra reverb on it. There you go. So this is my instrument that my regulars know generally flanks the bass. My regulars also know that these streams, anything I do with my headphones, anything I do with my loopers is meant for headphone listening. So a pair of noise-canceling headphones is the best way to hear this. And you might hear these 2 are panned to the left and right. And they're positioned a little bit to the left and right of the bass, which is to the center. The bass is panned to the center. But these are both the same instrument. just me recording two complementary layers. This one's a little higher pitched, this one's a little lower pitched. So they have some kind of like, you know, almost dissonant, resonant something happening here. I'm not much in the music theory, FYI. But here's the input effects on the looper. Because this is, once again, a cappella. This is just me going like... There's no magic. Like, I'm not some awesome singer doing some kind of... I don't know, whatever. It's all the looper. So how did I do it? This starts with a distortion. And distortion on the top looper is much more rich and nuanced than the bottom looper. On the top looper, it's multiple types of distortion. The bottom looper, you know, it makes it sound all grainy like this. This has vocal distortion on it. But on the top looper, there's multiple types of distortion. I don't have them all memorized, but I think there's like 4 or 5 different ways to distort. Some of them are more like just literally distorted and grainy. Others are more like a really intense, almost clipping volume boost. So there's different types of vocals. I'm sorry, different types of distortion. This one is on the setting of vocal. So you can see that it preserves the sound. You know this is a human voice as you listen to this. You can hear that's me just being like... So this one doesn't have as much distortion per se in it. It's a more subtle form. So that's the first piece though, a distortion of the type vocal. Then I pass it into an electric, which is the tuner. That's why it's an F sharp. Once again, for my musicians who like to jam along, F sharp is the key. Beats per minute is 142.6. Distortion, electric. This one is also passed into a vibrato. This one is only one measure. Not 2 measures of the other one. Distortion, electric, vibrato, and then a reverse delay, which is awesome. So there's a little bit of a delay if you listen carefully at the end of these. You can hear that there. A little bit of a delay right at the end. This one, it's a little harder to hear because it doesn't really end. But when it starts, you can hear it kind of clip a little. Not clip exactly, but in terms of volume levels. But that's it. That's how I built this one. So again, if you're looking for like different techniques on the 505, or you're getting started, or you're wondering like how on earth do you even use these things, you use the input effects to just stack different input effects. There's a lot. There's probably, oh man, I don't even want to speculate too much, but probably at least 30 or 40 different things you can stack in different combinations to make the sequence matters. So there's a lot of different permutations to get different sounds. There's a lot of possibility in these loopers in terms of sounds you can make just with some really clumsy, poor singing. And at this point, I mentioned also that I had some output gate reverb. That's what's happening here. You can hear there's like a heavier resonance coming in there. That's the gate reverb. That's the output up here. The output wheel is really fun for dynamic, you know, playing live, that kind of stuff. That's the vinyl flick. The output effects, controlled by the wheel on the right side on both loopers. That's really fun. And generally, if you're performing in any capacity, that kind of stuff just makes it more entertaining for your audience. So that's another little tip as I drop tips here and there. At this time, you are fully caught up. You are caught up on everything that I built into the foundation beat. But I still need to build the rest of the beat. So I'm going to add the next layer now. As I mentioned earlier, you can have up to four saved instruments in a given palette. You've heard my bass, that's one of my instruments. You heard that other like vocal resonant thing. That's another one of my instruments. So now I'm going to go to another one that I have not yet used on this stream. You've not heard on this stream yet. I'm going to describe how it's built, and then I'm going to go use it. It's going to be awesome. Here it comes. We're starting with the electric in this case, which is an unusual. I usually don't put electric first, but I did in this case. Electric, which is the tuner. Then I pass that into a step slicer. Slicer is awesome. Here's what the slicer is, if you're not familiar with that. It's just like choppiness. And in the Mark II, there's a lot you can do with the slicer. And in the Mark I as well, but you can do more in the Mark II. So this new instrument I'm going to use is going to be built using this slicer. Electric, the tuner, and then the slicer. And then it's passed into a radio, which gives it like a, you know, going through an intercom kind of sound through the phone, pass your sound wave through a fax machine. It has that kind of effect, the radio. And then all of that is passed into the sustainer, which again is like a compressor. So that's what I'm going to use right now. I'm going to go off the speaking mic, and I'm going to start using it as the input for this top looper here. I'll play around with this instrument a little bit. I'll make a loop. I'll come back and talk a little more about it. So we got this now. That is the funnest part of using the loopers. I had no idea what was the... That is as new and unexpected to me as it is to you. This sounds pretty good. So once again, how did that one get built? This one right here. How did I build this sound? This was built out of the, and this is again, if you're trying to recreate this on your 505, or you're wondering whether you'd be able to use one of these, the answer is yes. As I did this, my beautiful acapella singing was basically like, do. That's my awesome singing. But it makes it sound like this because the looper has cool effects. Electric, step slicer, radio, sustainer. Electric is the tuner. You can hear the choppiness with the step slicer. The radio is like passing it through a fax machine. And the sustainer is like the compressor, adding loudness. This is great. This is going very well. So we've used 3 out of the 4 instruments already. We got the bass line, we got this like vocally thing that I did, whatever you'd call this. We got this, I don't know, choppy thing, whatever this is. That's 3 of my instruments, and there's one more. And there's one more palette to put it in, or one more channel rather to put it in. This one is going to be very, very like raw vocals. It's going to very much sound like a person. Here's how this next one is going to be built. I haven't used this one yet on this stream. You haven't heard this one yet on this stream. This next one is built as follows. It starts with a preamp. The preamp is what it sounds like. It's like an amp, as if you were plugging your guitar into your amp so that you could play at some, you know, outdoor location. It's like an amp. So the preamp is like a sort of a crackly, loud amplifier. And you have some control over exactly how it sounds, but they all sort of sound like, as I say, a literal amp as if you plug your guitar into it. So it's like a loudness amplifier. Almost sounds like it's clipping and all that. That one is then passed into a reverb, just an ordinary plain reverb. That's then passed into a flanger. And we'll see how much I turn that up or down. And then all that is passed into the electric finally, which is the tuner. So, at this time, I am once again going to go off the vocal mic. And I'm going to start playing around with this other instrument and what it sounds like, and how am I going to make something that'll fit nicely into the rest of this beat. I'll record that, come back and talk about it a bit, and man, we will have the opportunity to celebrate because that will be such a successful 505 beat making stream. Man, it's gonna be good. But first, I need to go and start playing around with this other instrument. So I'm gonna go off the vocal mic. I'm gonna go off speaking. Talk in a little bit. Yes on that. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm pretty happy with that layer in general, but also it fits well with the rest of the song, I think. Once again, preamp, reverb, flanger, electric. Let's listen again. Yeah, I definitely dig that. So I'm glad that I have the ability to save off the beat for later use. Yes. Yes, I think indeed we can declare at this time. We can declare officially at this time that this stream has been a success. This came out nice, this beat. I can easily see myself using this beat for something. I don't know if it'll be instrumental or I'll put a rap on it. But it's nice, I like it. Friends, I'm gonna celebrate. I'm gonna celebrate in the way that you know best. I have got my drink, my friends. I'm gonna count up to 3. You are invited to join us as we celebrate together and cheers along. And it's gonna be really exciting and wonderful. Grab your drink if you're joining us. 1, oh my goodness. It already started. 2, oh my, I had to scramble for this because clink. Cheers, my friend. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's the best. That's very good and the best, yes. Please like this video. Please subscribe. Please leave a comment. Please share this video with a friend who would like it. I see right now that Steve has a question. He's got the QQ coming through. What can I do to help you? Steve says, do you ever do beats in other time signatures other than common time 4/4, like 3/4, etc.? And the answer is yes. You came to the right place if you want to learn about that stuff. Or not learn, but if you want to talk about that stuff. That's one of my favorite things in music, is doing unusual time signatures. I generally don't do them often on live streams because the live streams are meant for, you know, like general consumption, and the unusual time signatures can get pretty weird. But I love unusual time signatures, and yes, I do them. And if you're interested in hearing some of my unusual time signature stuff, I have a playlist of some of it on my page. There's a playlist called Flow Loops, and that is, as I say, me playing around with weird time signatures. Some of them have got lyrics in them, so I'm like rapping in this like complicated 11 count time signature, but it's awesome. I love that stuff. I love it. Yes is the answer. It's not off the table that I'll do more of it. There were a couple of live streams where I did weird time signatures. One of them I felt was like a bit too, not avant-garde, but a bit too, you know, like difficult. Like you have to figure it out. That's what I like about weird time signatures. Like when they get really weird, which is what I just make up different numbers and different number combinations and try weird stuff. And sometimes it gets very, like, the first few times you listen to it, you have to like really try hard. But when it's a very smooth flow, I don't know, maybe I'll do that on a live stream. A 7 count maybe. I like a 7 count beat. I was just saying an 11 count. Possible. it's good to know that that's of interest. If that's of interest, that tells me that there may be an audience for it. As I always say, when I do any kind of live stream or release videos and such, I'm not just like navel gazing, doing what I want to do because I'm entertained by it. I'm trying to do something that benefits you. We can talk about how close I am to hitting the bullseye on that, but that's what I'm aiming at, trying to do something for you. So again, that's why much of the time signature stuff, I'm not doing it on the live streams right now, but I might if there's demand for it. In any case, my friends, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here today. Steve says he is interested in it, personally. See, that's good feedback for me to hear. I want to give you something that's good. And if it is interesting to you, that's on the table. Especially on a tinkering in the studio stream. Tinkering in the studio is like absolutely no boundaries at all. I do hope to see you in the next live stream. My regulars know. My regulars know that we have got a variety of flavors of live streams available for you. Today we were in the upper right. We were doing some 505 beat making. I was talking about the details, how I made the sounds. I said, look, this is what I'm doing a cappella. It's very unimpressive, but the looper makes it sound good. That's some 505 beat making. In the lower right, we got tinkering in the studio, like I was just referencing. I had alluded to that. Technically, I didn't allude, but I did reference. Tinkering in the studio, there's no boundaries at all. We just hang out, do some looper stuff like today, bring in the synthesizer. We talk about all sorts of anything on that type of live stream. Join us for Tinkering in the Studio. In the lower left, we got Unspoken. Unspoken is a lot like Tinkering in the Studio, because we got the loopers and the synth. But in Unspoken, there's no talking at all. Nothing from start to finish, no words. Join us for Unspoken. It's really good if you want to throw something on in the background. If you want to listen to two live streams, and in one of them they're talking, you can listen to some Unspoken. In the top left, we got Loops and Chill. That looks like a well-rehearsed performance, like you saw me at a venue. Nope. It's being all improvised, the whole thing, start to finish. The beats, the arrangement, how I perform them, all being improvised. Building the plane while I'm flying it. Join me for Loops and Chill. And whatever the type of live stream it is that you join us for next, my friends, I'm looking forward to seeing you again. I see this whole time that Thomas has been with us in the live, but not in the chat. See, Thomas, don't you feel really included now when I say things like, hey, if you're with us in the live, but you're in the chat, if you're with us in the live, but you're not in the chat. And then I also say, if you're joining us after the stream, don't you feel so included that I do that? Whenever it is I see you again, whenever you join us for the next live stream, please have a very good rest of your day today. Please let the rest of your day today bring you all manner of blessing. Please let today bring you opportunities to step forward in your own personal growth in all ways, in the ways you are needing in the most dire manner, in the ways that you are needing in the most non-urgent manner. Let all of these become fulfilled today, and I will see you in the next Reconsider It live stream.